one that is the most important one. The myth is, I can't do it. And the truth is, until you try, you can't possibly know what you can or can't do. And there's a little conversation that Gary Keller had with one of his classes, which I'd like to read. And it goes like this. So the student said, okay, Gary, do you really think it's realistic to talk to all of us about achieving those levels of success? It doesn't seem very realistic to me. So Gary said, that's a fair question. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions before I answer? So the student said, sure. So he's like, what's your ultimate potential? So the student's like, I'm sorry, I don't follow you. And Gary said, what are your limitations? What are you capable of achieving? What is your ceiling? In other words, do you know what your ultimate potential is? So the student says, I've never really thought about it. I guess I have no idea. So Gary said to him, that's an honest answer, and he appreciates that. So here's the point, nobody knows. And if you don't know what your ultimate potential is, how can you possibly judge what is realistic? Honestly, what good does it do to us to talk about what is realistic when in the end we don't even know what we're truly capable of achieving? So he then took it a step further and he's like, let's pretend for a second that I actually did believe in the need to be realistic about your potential. Are you telling me that you would willingly turn your kids over to me to be taught that doctrine? So the class was like, no. So he's like, no, really. I'll take your 13 and 16-year-olds and I'll sit them down and say, your mom and dad have hired me to teach you your limitations. You're not going to be all you hoped you could be. You have limits. You don't need to dream big because that's just unrealistic. Now, if that was what I was going to teach your children, are you going to turn me loose with your kids? And the class was like, no. So it's like, okay then, take your own advice. If you wouldn't talk to a child that way, why would you talk to yourself that way? You don't need that kind of non-productive self-talk going on in your head. So are you going to think big or think small? Are you going to think limits or no limits?
Sure.
Powerful stuff.
Love it. Love it.